A warm welcome back to the channel, and time for your latest industry recap. In today's episode, an airline is entering a new era of its operations. There's big developments surrounding the Boeing 787 and a new route announcement. But let's begin with the headline story, and that is with Boeing, who have completed delivery of their first Dreamliner since 2019, believe it or not, to China. A landmark milestone for also relations between the United States and China. A Junhao 787 was delivered last Thursday as part of the resumption to unfreeze deliveries for the aircraft type. Flight data indicates that the aircraft arrived in Shanghai at 4:20 p.m. local time, with the delivery representing a massive milestone for the American plane maker. Junhao Airlines, per data, has 7 of these 787s to its name, all being for the Dash 9, and these average an age of 4.6 years. It still does have orders that need to be delivered, but it has been unable to acquire them for an extended period, as I'm sure you're aware. Now, when the Boeing 737 MAX crisis emerged, China was quick to react by grounding the 737 MAX before several other vital regulators. They deemed the type to be unsafe. However, instead of working diligently to get the plane back into service like countries worldwide, China did lag once Boeing had completed the required work. We saw regulator after regulator approve the 737 MAX, and its reintroduction into the aviation industry seems like forever ago. But now, China still is behind on that in terms of deliveries, at least. As a response to the 737 MAX crisis, and you could argue also the lack of trust in Boeing product, China essentially halted all deliveries for any aircraft family from the plane maker, and notable casualties were the 737 MAX, but also the long-haul 787. Each of these aircraft types were slated to be delivered to several customers within China. However, there was a general inability to therefore deliver them to these airlines. Some may go on to argue that because of the global pandemic, in a way, while deliveries hadn't actually recommenced, it wasn't all that required, but it still is an important fact to consider that deliveries weren't even possible. The decision from China has impacted Boeing significantly throughout the years, as a substantial amount of their backlog for aircraft that needed to be delivered, and also for planes that were built, were destined for Chinese customers. Pressure has thus been added to the manufacturer's inventory, as they have not only dealt with supply chain issues in recent years, but have also been forced to delay delivery to many airlines. This has had a continued roll-on effect, whether it be airlines requiring the plane, but not able to get it delivered. Then on top of that, Chinese customers unable to get planes. It just becomes a very difficult position for all parties. Now, is it time for the 737 MAX to also be approved? Well, the Air Current, which is a leading publication, reported that Boeing had secured clearance from China's aviation regulator to resume these deliveries of the series. However, prior to this actually taking place, there are other approvals that need to be obtained within China. But still, the aircraft manufacturer is, yes, well on its way to securing a recommencement of deliveries for the very first time in years. Boeing's 737 MAX, in a similar fashion to the 787 Dreamliner, remained halted for 4 years as there was a lack of trust between the two parties. Approval would mark a pivotal moment for Chinese customers who will be able to leverage the capabilities of the MAX to their advantage to grow their operations and also bring larger levels of efficiency. On to the next story of today, and that sits with Air India, that you could argue are now finally entering a new era of their operations. Air India has celebrated the delivery of its first A350 as the company, yes, enters this new era that I have often described it as. The first A350-900 comes registered as VTJRA and adorns the newly unveiled branding. Delivery of the first unit symbolizes the beginning of a new era for the Indian aviation sector, and also Air India, as they undergo a transformational program. VT-JRA touched down at 1:46 p.m. local time in New Delhi after completing a delivery flight from Toulouse. Operating under the call sign AI350, the arrival was greeted by critical executives at the carrier, alongside high-profile guests. Previously, the aircraft was actually destined for Aeroflot, However, due to sanctions impacting Russian customers, delivery was rendered impossible, and this is how airlines such as Air India have been able to acquire brand new A350s built from the factory and from Airbus quicker than maybe others, and quicker than also would be expected typically. Aircraft types such as the A350 normally have considerable associated wait times, but the Aeroflot saga allowed some lucky airlines to really bypass these delays that would have been incurred and get the plane on sooner rather than later. Air India's A350-900s will be configured to seat 316 passengers, with the interior being designed by key partner and major aviation company Collins Aerospace. Inside the cabin are 3 classes, with your business class, premium and standard economy. The arrival of the A350 for Air India, as I've said, represents a new beginning as they embark on a transformational program to redefine what it means for them to be an airline. The transformational program has involved purchasing hundreds of next-generation aircraft from Airbus and Boeing. All these aircraft will come equipped with their latest cabin products to enhance customer satisfaction, but there have also been multiple other changes. They only recently began rolling out their new global brand identity with a new crew uniform and now a new livery on the A350. This will slowly be rolled out across existing planes, but will also feature on all newly delivered aircraft. And don't worry, there is going to be a lot of them. The carrier based in India has actually faced a lot of competition lately from emerging airlines and ones that are growing, and with their significant losses that they have faced, well, all of this has been detrimental to the brand's overall success. However, under new ownership, the belief is that Air India can once more become an industry leader. This will be a long-term ambition, don't get me wrong, and however ambitious you may view it, it will align with the 5-year transformational roadmap that goes hand in hand with achieving this. You can let me know your thoughts on delivery, as well as your hopes and aspirations for the airline. Will it truly be able to turn this around, or will this all be for nothing? On to the final story of today, sits with Norse Atlantic, who have announced plans to offer flights from Athens to New York JFK. The service announcement sees the airline look to enhance its commitment towards the United States and offer a true robust transatlantic service long into the next year. The airline is slated to operate the service between, again, Athens and New York from the 30th of May to the 26th of October, so as a result, this will only be operational during the summer season. However, in similar fashion to other previously announced routes that have performed well, the airline may be inclined to increase flights year-round. Again, this would be dependent on factors such as performance. Norse will operate the 787 Dreamliner on this route, but if you know the airline, well, you know that this is a bit of a funny statement considering that the airline does operate exclusively with the series to facilitate their long-haul requirements. That is going to conclude today's aviation news recap. If you have any thoughts, you are more than welcome to drop them down below in the comments. I hope you're enjoying some time off, whether that be from work or school. I do certainly appreciate the support, and I hope you had a lovely Christmas if you do indeed celebrate. Take care and do also be safe. I will see you next time.